If you can hear my fan in the background, mind your business. It is hot today, okay? I haven't made a YouTube video in a hot minute, so I went over to my Instagram and asked, hey, what would you like to see? What would you like me to talk about? And someone suggested that I talk about 5 things about being non-binary that I didn't expect. And of course, when you suggest that I talk about non-binariness, I'm going to deliver. So here are 5 things that I didn't expect or that I learned since coming out as non-binary. Also, a side note, because I feel like people on YouTube haven't caught up, I have hair extensions. My hair is long now. That's all you needed to know. One of the first things that I unlearn or learn since coming out as non-binary and since being around other non-binary individuals, being part of the non-binary and trans community, is that I don't have to be genderless or gender null, and that means having no gender. When I first came out as non-binary, and I think it's a similar experience for all MB babies, all baby non-binary individuals, is that I perceived non-binariness as completely neutral, as completely androgynous, because that's what society told me non-binariness should be. So of course, when I came out as non-binary, I thought, how can I affirm my gender identity and how can I make sure that people perceive me as non-binary? Oh, okay, I'll dive into androgyny, and I got rid of my long hair, I cut it short, I wore outfits that I knew were androgynous or were purposely gender neutral or were branded as gender neutral clothing. I went solely by they them pronouns. I didn't like any other terms being used for me, particularly any gendered terms, and I just basically told gender to fuck off. After several years of being out as non-binary and mingling with other non-binary people, I've come to realise that I'm actually a very gender-full individual, and how I define that is I love gender, I love fucking with gender, I love experimenting with it, I love taking what I like from different expressions and gender identities and making it my own. And with that, I discovered that non-binariness, doesn't have to be completely gender neutral. It doesn't have to be androgynous. It can be a bit femme, a bit masc. It can be completely femme, completely masc. It can be whatever you want it to be. And just because society tells you, no, a non-binary person should look this way, that's not, no, you know? We're non-binary. We don't want to exist within the binaries of man and woman, so why would we want to exist within the binary of being non-binary? Right? If you're a baby non-binary or you're a non-binary person that is still struggling with this concept and this notion of being androgynous and having to be androgynous, know that you don't have to. You can enjoy gendered things and still be valid as non-binary. But also, if you are an androgynous individual and you want to stay completely androgynous, pop off. I love that for you. But for me, I'm a gender-full individual. I love mixing gender expressions and identities and taking what I want to create my version of non-binariness, my version of D. Second thing I learned that I didn't expect to learn since coming out as non-binary is the fact that regardless of how I present myself, people will perceive me how they want to perceive me. So therefore, I should just present however I want to. And again, that's something that I've had to learn, particularly within the last few months, is that regardless of how I present, regardless of what pronouns I use, regardless of what labels I use, people will perceive me however they want to perceive me, but that doesn't change who I am. I have become so much more comfortable in myself, so much more confident in myself. If somebody misgenders me or says something towards me to try and hurt me, I'm like, cool. That's how you perceive me. That's not going to change the fact I'm not binary, and that's not going to change the fact that I look like this. So go ahead, keep saying these things if you want to, because I'm still going to be me. And that falls into this whole idea of this is what non-binary should look like. If you don't look like this, people will not perceive you that way. But the reality is that even if you do look like this, people will still not perceive you that way. So present how you want to present, because no one else's feelings or thoughts or opinions matter but your own. Now we're gonna get slightly serious for this next one, because it's something that I've spoken about online quite a bit, but it's something that I definitely wanted to bring up in this video. And that's the fact that since I've come out as non-binary, since I've been navigating queer spaces as a non-binary individual, since I've been creating content online as a non-binary individual, I have come to realise that not every queer and trans person will be an ally for non-binary people. Unfortunately, there is so much infighting within the community right now, and as a non-binary person, I do feel targeted by a lot of other members of the community. And that is so unfortunate, and it breaks my heart, because I'm an advocate and I am an activist, and I do all of these things for all of my siblings, for my trans siblings, for my queer siblings, for my lesbian siblings, for my gay siblings, for my siblings of all different faiths, nationalities, POC siblings, right? I do this for everyone because everyone deserves the right to love who they want to love, and to be legally accepted and acknowledged, and to receive the healthcare that they need. But unfortunately, that just doesn't seem to be the case across the board. And since coming out as non-binary and sharing more of my non-binariness online, I have seen and been a victim of so much infighting from trans people, from queer people. It's just, I have no words for it. As someone who is trans and non-binary, it is so hard when trans binary individuals say to me, non-binariness isn't real. You're ruining it for trans people. But I'm not. And a lot of the time, the people that are saying those things are the people that aren't doing any sort of activism work or actually trying to help the community. And it breaks my heart. And the reason I added it to this list is because it is something that I've been really working through recently. It's something that I've written articles on. It's something that I've spoken to a lot of my friends about, because it's so heartbreaking to fight for a community that some, not all of course, but some individuals don't accept your existence, or they don't want you to be part of the community, or they think you should just be over there in a box, that you shouldn't be using your voice, that you shouldn't be speaking on issues because they don't relate to you, when in reality they do. But I guess the positive from that is that the people that I have met that are allies to non-binary people are die-hard allies to non-binary people, and they are amazing. And if you can find your little chosen family who accept you as non-binary and fight for your rights just as they would fight for other community members' rights, that's all that matters. You know, it's so difficult with all the infighting going on to feel part of the community and to feel safe in the community, but it's about finding your own chosen family to, you know, support you at this time, and just to be good people, you know. Another more serious point that I learned, that I didn't expect to learn since coming out as non-binary, is that legally I have no recognition. Non-binary people aren't recognised in the UK, so regardless of, you know, me changing my name on my passport and getting a deed poll, which I did do, but regardless of those things, legally I'm not recognised. There is no legal recognition for non-binary people in the UK, so regardless, I cannot be non-binary on my passport. I cannot legally be non-binary. I can't marry my boyfriend as a non-binary person. I would have to marry him as either a same-sex partnership or not marry him. Like, something that really can take a toll on you to know that regardless of what you do, until they legalise non-binary people, I'm never going to be seen as non-binary in the eyes of the law. And yeah, I know that got really serious, but I really do think it's important to talk about, because not enough people talk about the fact that non-binary people aren't legally recognised in the UK. For so long we have fought for trans people to be recognised, and we're still fighting for trans people to be recognised and to access the healthcare that they need to, you know, continue their life, to flourish in their life. But for non-binary people, there is nothing, and it breaks my heart, because who's fighting first? I want to end on a more positive final point, because I have just spoken about two serious things, and this is slightly serious, but it's also not that serious. I feel like you're all going to disagree with me on that, but coming out as non-binary saved my life, and I didn't expect that. When I came out as non-binary, I was in a really dark place. I wasn't in the best of places. I was in an abusive relationship. I was not doing okay, right? And finding the non-binary identity just made everything click. For so long, I'd been thinking, I don't feel like a girl, but I don't feel like a boy. I don't like these labels. I don't like these terms. I don't want to dress this way. I don't like my chest. What does this all mean? And when I stumbled across the term non-binary, I realised, hey, that's me. And it generally did save my life. And finding that label changed so much for me. Not only did it change my internal feelings about myself, it finally gave a word to how I was feeling, but it also meant I could explain those feelings to other people. I could explain those feelings to partners. It also meant I could go on this whole journey that has led me to my career, where I'm now an award-winning non-binary sex educator who focuses on trans and non-binary sex ed, because who else is going to do it, you know? And those are the 5 things that I learned since coming out as non-binary that I didn't expect to learn. And some of them are a bit more serious, some of them are a bit more fun, but that's who I am. I'm going to get serious with you all, I'm going to get real with you all, you know, and coming out as non-binary changed my life, and it allowed me to continue living as my true self. And I wouldn't change my gender identity for the world. I'm always going to be non-binary, and I've always been non-binary. I just didn't have the term. I just didn't know what it meant. And I will always fight for non-binary people and make sure that whatever I do, there is, you know, a thought process behind it that refers to non-binary people or references non-binary people, or, you know, regardless of what I do, I'm thinking of non-binary people. I'm out and about thinking of non-binary people. I'm eating dinner thinking about non-binary people. I'm dyeing my hair thinking about non-binary people. Writing an article thinking about non-binary people. If you enjoyed this video, follow me over on Instagram and TikTok, where I go live sometimes. And if you'd like to know more about what I learned since coming out as non-binary, let me know below. And if you have a suggestion of what video I can do next, again, let me know in the comments below. So, yeah. Non-binary people, we're sick. Bye.